Hey, I wanted to do this video in response to some comments I got in my last video. I'm trying to think of social media in a different way than how I'm actually experiencing it. I was in a talk with a friend recently, and we were talking about talking. And one of the ideas that came to me is that if you're not talking for connection, then you're talking for attention. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I do know that many people have difficulty with actually feeling connected in conversation. And what they know how to do instead of actually listening to people and empathizing with them, with feeling what they're feeling and trying to understand what's alive in them, what I see instead is others talking about what they're reminded of. Conversation is a matter of grabbing the microphone back and forth. Oh, well, you think this? Well, I think this. I'm old enough to remember when social media came around, and it came with the promise of connection, of connecting us with distant family and friends. It's really lost that spirit. And in the same way our conversations aren't really connecting, neither is our content. We're rewarded more for attention than we are for connection. I want to change that somehow. I'm just not sure how yet in this content that I make. But I actually want to connect with how people respond. You'll see on my Instagram some really long replies that I leave to people. And here on YouTube, Marie2490 has left a few comments in my last video. I'll answer one now and another later if time permits. And they ask, Simon, it would be wonderful if you made a more in-depth video about your thoughts on manifestation and affirmations. So for starters, thank you, Marie, for the excitement that you've shared in your comments. It really seemed like that video resonated with you, and so thank you, really, for taking the time to watch it out of all the things that you could have watched instead. Now, the main idea in my video was about how thoughts perform niche constructions. Thoughts are patterns, and patterns want to repeat themselves, to self-perpetuate, to stay around. That's an idea that I actually think a lot about, and it kind of helps me make sense of this non-linear chaos in the quantum soup that we're all a part of. I spoke about niche construction from the perspective of how I heard a biologist describe that idea, and then I added some of my own ideas. And one idea that came to me was that this sounds like another way to understand manifestation and affirmations. So I'll get more into that idea here. Number one, I'm very hesitant with the idea of manifestation and affirmations because I grew up very Catholic, and through my set of experiences and frameworks, I'm concerned that this manifestation is another form of prayer, especially for those of us who have left the faith and have a God-shaped hole in our hearts. Prayer, from my experience of it, from the way that I was taught it growing up, was to get on my knees and beg a big bearded white guy that I've never met, who's living in the sky, to give me a gift. I can't get the gift myself, so can you hook me up instead? If I was good enough, if I was special enough, then my wish would be fulfilled. Nowadays, I don't really like this idea because I find it very disempowering and frustrating. I'm not used to things being just given to me. In my experience, I have to put in a lot of time and a lot of effort. I have to challenge myself. I have to push through pain and discomfort to persist and be consistent in order to achieve my goals and dreams. Now, this isn't to say that I'm self-made in any way, and I've received a lot from my environment and my community. I know this, but it didn't come from me waiting around for it. It's co-created. It's an exchange. Manifestation happens through both intention and action. And the way that I've understood prayer and how some people speak about manifestation focuses on intentions but doesn't put in the actions. Now, that may not be your experience, and I'm not claiming that my experience is universal either. It's just from my very limited sample size of my own life. And so number two, with my old traumas and patterns being addressed and kind of put aside here, I do think that manifestation and affirmations occur in different ways. One of the ways that thoughts perform niche construction so that our affirmations are manifested is by activating the Salience network. Meaning, if I'm thinking about something and aware of something, I'll be more sensitive to signals in my environment that could lead to me actualizing those thoughts. While if I'm not thinking about it, then I might just ignore those signals and just not notice the signals that could lead me to what I'd like to affirm. An example of the Salience network was back when I was in Canada. After I bought a Tesla, I realized, holy shit, there are just so many Teslas around. I didn't notice them before. Now, it's not like everyone got a Tesla at the same time that I did. I was just more attuned to the signals, and I could pick up on those signals more readily than I did before. Teslas became salient for me. In non-Tesla terms, if we spend time with thoughts about appreciation of our partner, we will find more things to appreciate about them in the future. If we spend time with thoughts about why we're upset with our partners, we'll find more reasons to be upset with them in the future as well. Thoughts don't just construct their niches, they construct their futures as well. If we spend a lot of our time thinking about why Trump is horrible, we'll find more examples of it in the future. If we spend more time thinking about how strong we are, we'll find more examples of it in the future. On a related note, our thoughts are very similar in this way to social media algorithms. What you're paying the most attention to, social media will feed you more of. I'm spending a lot of time thinking about running and weightlifting lately, and I'm watching more running and fitness influencers as a result. The algorithm is an extension of my thoughts and interests. Though it's not really easy for me to draw a line of causation. Did I get into running on my own and then find that content on Instagram? Or did that content find me first and then get me more into running? I actually don't know. What came first here? Is this a chicken or the egg? The point here is that affirmations are another way of training our salience network so that we could be more attuned to the signals around us that we might otherwise ignore. It's making our metal detectors more sensitive. Train our attention on the things that we want in our lives, and we'll find more ways to get there. And number 3, apart from salience and algorithms, I also really like this quote by Lao Tzu, and it goes, "Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. And watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, it becomes your destiny." That really sounds like manifestation and affirmations to me. What's very salient to me in this quote is the idea of being selective about everything that we allow into our bodies, into our systems. I'm reminded of phrases like, "You are what you eat," and "You are who you hang with," and other such ideas. And so, what stands out to me is to not let into your body, don't let into your system, do not let into your environment anything that doesn't serve your higher values. And I mean, be very selective. Don't eat anything that you know is going to hurt you. Don't eat shitty food. Don't drink alcohol. Do not watch violence on TV. Don't pay attention to angry politics. Stop listening to music with unhealthy messages from artists with attachment issues. If you want a change in the world, start with making changes within yourself. Because there is no objective reality out there that you have any access to understanding. Our brains don't just take in all the information. They actually block out a lot of information as well. There's way too much information out there for us to be able to process all of it. It's too metabolically expensive. Our brains would fry. We don't have enough RAM to render it all. So just process the parts of it that are going to work for you. Train your salience network to pick up on signals that will make your world, and as a result, the world, a better place. You won't change the world by focusing on all of its problems and feeding those thoughts into your system. It's very easy to get overwhelmed and lost in the sea of painful patterns, and there are a lot of them out there. Also in this quote, there's this idea that thoughts lead to your destiny, and the only thing that's in control over any of that chain of process is our ability to watch and to observe. So watch the thoughts that arise in you. They're not yours, after all. They've been given to you, taught to you. You don't have a single original thought in your body. You are just reprocessing everything that your parents and your environment has given to you. And once you really observe these thoughts and observe them with patience, there comes a place of choice where you can decide if you want to allow those thoughts any more power over you. And if you've gotten this far into this video, then this thought is now alive in you. Nurture that thought. And with it, affirm the kind of world that you want to be in. affirm the kind of person that you want to be. May your actions be in alignment with your values. All right, that's all I'm going to say for now. I got a little woo-woo in there, but I'm always going to include some woo-woo. So thank you again to Marie for this inspiration, for keeping this conversation going. For everyone else, I'd love to hear your thoughts. How did this resonate in you? Or what parts did you feel resistance towards? And even if you don't leave a comment, thank you for letting these ideas be a part of you, if even for a bit. I'll see you in the next video.